I keep tripping up on the fact that I have so much to share and none of it feels done. I've been telling stories for a long time, as long as I can remember, really, ever since I understood what telling a story was. There is a need and a hunger inside of me and inside of many of my peers for something more honest, a sharing of story and information that is real and raw and not as calculated. And I get a feeling that other humans are like this too. It's taken me to this point in my life, many decades in now, to realize that I won't feel healthy and sane and actualized and like I'm a contributing member of the world that I want to live in, that I choose to live in, unless I do share these stories and unless I share them on my terms. And that really means that I personally need to let go of the need for perfectionism and the need to feel like what I'm creating is good enough before I let anyone else see it. Hi, I'm Stirling. I am deeply and creatively weird, and I'm challenging myself to share my creative process. That's what this video is. Instead of being crippled by social anxiety or the idea of perfection, I'm just gonna put it all out there. So if you're ready to embrace your strange and you want to do the same, join the Creative Confidence Challenge and let's get creative. As I mentioned before, hi, my name is Stirling. Spilling some coffee. Hi. Isn't it fantastic to live in such a time, the culmination of technology and culture, where I can sit here and talk to my little pocket robot and send those information waves out into the ether and you can witness them and garner inspiration or excitement or guidance or entertainment or whatever it is that you happen to get from the things that you watch on the internet. I think that that is amazing. It's very exciting. And because of that, we have a really fantastic opportunity to share. We've got this great opportunity to share what we're creating and what we're doing and what we're excited about and what inspires us and the process. And there's this honesty that the medium inspires and calls for, and I think that that's really fantastic because I know I speak for myself and I believe that I also speak for many other people, probably some of you watching this, that the media and the state that it's in these days is really disillusioning, the mainstream media, in so much as I don't trust what I see on TV. And when I can acknowledge that that's okay and it's just someone else's storyline, then I don't particularly mind that. But there is a need and a hunger inside of me and inside of many of my peers for something more honest, a sharing of story and information that is real and raw and not as calculated. And so I'm really excited to give a piece of what I have been doing and dreaming and making for a long time as a little key in the jigsaw puzzle of putting together our consensual reality. And that is why I am here to document this process. I've been telling stories for a long time, as long as I can remember, really, ever since I understood what telling a story was. I've been telling stories for a long time, probably longer than I can remember. Understanding a story is how I relate to the world. And so understanding the story that I'm telling in any given moment, whether that is intentional, like a story that I've thought about, or that I'm hi Betty, or that I'm recounting to someone specifically, or that I'm incorporating into a song or a performance piece, or if that's a story that I'm telling myself inside my head about how I'm relating to a situation around me, or what must have happened for this particular person or situation before I came across it, or why someone did what they did, and inferring the mechanism for all of that is the language that I use to interact with reality. And I get a feeling that other humans are like this too. And it's interesting because I wasn't always conscious of the fact that the story of an idea or a place or a thing or a person was really necessary and integral for me to understand what was going on. But from a very young age, I've been telling myself stories in my head pretty much constantly. I've had many conversations, maybe even more conversations than I've had out loud with other people, where I'm imagining the outcome or how someone might feel about something, or what if this happened and then that would happen, and filling in the dialogue and the characters and the climax and the resolution and all the possible outcomes, and taking it in other directions and imagining what might happen if this and then that. And I am very grateful that there are aspects of our society where this sort of internal storyline is encouraged, in terms of, writing music and poetry and stories, books, and everything like that. Being able to find, and as a performer, finding my identity as a storyteller, and thinking long and hard and realizing that that's the piece. The telling of the story is the piece that holds together all of these other things that make sense for me, that I innately like to do. I need to let the puppy outside. All my life, I've been collecting stories and sharing them and retelling them and using them as a sort of currency, exchanging information and characters and plot lines and resolutions and particular traits with other people and their stories. And I've been consistently encouraged by really powerful mentors in my life that I need to share these stories, that it's important. And I feel at the core of my being, like, I know that that's true. I know that for my own self-actualization, for the sake of my sanity, and to feel like I'm actually contributing to consensual reality, I need to share these stories, because I have so many. I have collected so many amazing stories and created so many really intricate stories in my mind and in my personal reality immediately around me. But at the same time as having these encouraging, fantastic, supportive, inspiring mentors, there's also been this ever-present dichotomy of people in positions of authority, or people whose opinions I respect, reminding me that storytelling isn't a practical path to choose in life, that at some point I'm going to need to grow up, that I need to do something, that makes more sense. And sometimes these thoughts and attitudes are spoken outwardly, out loud, directly. Sometimes they're just mentioned, referenced, left in that open space in the conversation where no one's exactly going to address them, but it's very apparent that that's the elephant in the room that's sitting there between me and whoever I'm interacting with, or whatever situation I'm in, where this negativity and pressure to conform to some outmoded concept of what a functioning adult is in society. And it's taken me to this point in my life, many decades in now, to realize that I won't feel healthy and sane and actualized and like I'm a contributing member of the world that I want to live in, that I choose to live in, unless I do share these stories and unless I share them on my terms. And that really means that I personally need to let go of the need for perfectionism and the need to feel like what I'm creating is good enough before I let anyone else see it or experience it or hear it or interact with it, whatever it is, the story that it is. So as I become more awakened and involved in my personal adult life, I am making a concerted effort to surround myself constantly with the type of people that encourage this, that are creative themselves, and the types of mentors that are really very clear that there's no excuse, no better time, and no real reason not to be sharing the process, because the process comes before the product, and that's a whole other can of worms. And like, how do you actually commoditize artwork and passion and creation and creativity and stories? And there probably are business plans for that. I haven't figured that out yet, because I keep tripping up on the fact that I have so much to share and none of it feels done, but just because it hasn't reached this nebulous ambiguity that is I'll feel good when it's perfect and then I can release it to the world in this huge launch type thing. Like that model doesn't work for me. And I think that it's not really the most applicable model to what's actually going on in the world right now. And we have these amazing mediums, this little pocket robot that I'm talking into, and whatever you're watching this on, probably your pocket robot, maybe the robot that lives on your desk or in your backpack, they're really helpful in letting us share. And I realize that the kind of content that I enjoy the most is the honest look inside of someone's process and progress, and not the product. The product comes later, when I've already decided that I have a personal connection with the person and I want to support what they're creating because I believe in them as a human beyond just wanting to zombily, blindly consume what's being marketed to me. So I'm really nervous and excited to take this next series of steps in sharing my process with you, whoever you happen to be. Thank you for existing and listening and being interested. And none of this is polished. None of it is perfect. Maybe at some point there will be a beautifully polished and perfect product and something that I'll be really proud of, I hope. But what I think is more necessary for me, and possibly for a larger subsection of our population, is to find a way to be proud of the progress that I'm making, and not need it to be perfect. And in that vein, I have many stories and songs and poems and experiences and lessons that I've learned to share with you, and there's a lot of them, and none of them are perfect, and they're not polished, although a lot of it is really shiny. It's that raw kind of shiny. It's not polished. Uh, so thank you for listening. Hi, I'm Stirling, and I am coming to you through the ethereal internet because I've received some really fantastic guidance from some particularly epic mentors who are talking about how